Hey guys, this is a what's in my bag for YouTube, just for people to see what's in my bag. One thing, my Canon 600D and my 18 to 55mm kit lens are not in here because they're filming this now, as well as my tripod, which is a Valbon CX300, not the most sturdy of tripods, but it gets the work done. I'll start off with this Zenit film camera, 35mm film. My pride and joy. I love the thing, working condition, everything. I have 3 lenses to fit: a Helios 44, a Pentacon 50mm, and a Sigma 80 to 200. Yep. So that's that out the way. Done. Oh, takes very nice photos. Really good. I would advise over it though the Pentax 1000K, the K1000 I think it is actually, just because it's easier to use and I think the photos come out better, as well as it's not expensive, so that's a good thing. I'll start off with the Canon 50mm. Beautiful thing. Light, cheap build quality, complete plastic. Disgusting to hold, incredible to use. f1.8 Mark II Prime at 50mm. EF, autofocus or manual focus. No image stabilization, but it's 50mm prime and you don't need that. Very quick to autofocus, although I don't use it frequently on any lens apart from this one. However, the noise of the autofocusing is horrible. So that's something to keep in mind. I'll also mention that this is probably my favorite 50mm that I've ever used to shoot moving, apart from the Canon. I think it's an ultrasonic 50mm f1.4, because that's incredible, but it was out of my price range. This I think is maybe $150 US, or like 70-80 pound. Well worth it. I advise you get these. This lens, everyone's always talking about getting a nifty 50, and I truly understand why. My favorite lens of all, I think. Next I'll be talking about my Pentacon 50mm. I generally use this 50mm for still shots because it takes ages to focus, as it's a vintage lens, no autofocus or anything, and it takes 1.5 rotations to get it fully way around. Not only that, but it's very sluggish and almost difficult to focus with because of the amount of effort that goes into focusing. So that's something to keep in mind if you're ever thinking to buy this lens, which I doubt you do because it's a vintage lens and no one really buys them anymore. Well, they're not that popular. Manual aperture, one sec, let me set it to it. Yes, manual aperture blades. Very fun to use, very useful, because often I like to see the light change through my viewfinder and I generally can't do that with modern lenses, so that's something to keep in mind. As well as that, the build quality is incredible, as it's extremely solid, made out of 100% metal. I think it's magnesium alloy, I'm not too sure. It goes from f1.8 to f22, and it's really great to use. Like most vintage lenses, similar to a 50mm, very sharp focusing. However, the outline is almost out of focus, so you get this really smooth focused feel, whereas with modern lenses, just like my Canon 50mm, you get a very strong outline of your subject, which can be very good. Can be, but can also ruin a photo. So if I'm using a still shot, I generally like to use this. Next up is my Helios 44, my pride and joy. One of the best lenses I've ever used, and I've used a lot of lenses. I really like this. Very smooth change of aperture, as well as I can lock it on apertures, which is very nice. a very nice feature in fact, indeed. Very easy, like effortless to focus. Prime lens at 44. This cost me about £8 and it was well worth it. I use this lens on almost a daily basis. I do in fact use it as well for street photography, as it surprisingly focuses almost when I want it to. So that's something. Next lens up. Sigma 80 to 200mm. Vintage lens again. Very nice rubber here to zoom and to focus. Unlike modern lenses, it has one ring to zoom and the same ring to focus. So you push down and pull out to zoom in and zoom out, and you twist and turn to focus. 52mm diameter, same as the Canon 50mm f1.8 Mark II, which is the one that I reviewed a second ago. It came with this container, which is very nice, and a lens hood which looks like shit and does fuck all. But other than that, I'd like to get on to build quality. Again, like vintage lenses are 100% metal, very solid, great glass, like these other two lenses as well. I'm in love with this lens, however I never use it. I don't really do zoom photography, and I wish I did, because this lens is great. I'm not gonna get into the focus ranges, so I'll just say it goes from I think 3.7 feet to infinity on focus, which is, you know, pretty standard for a zoom lens of that era. That was cheap as well. I think that was about £12, I think. No, actually no. This was 99 pence. I got it on a bidding war. For those of you that don't know pence or pound, that's less than $1. So, you know, incredible price for that lens. I mean, I would have paid more for the box. So, that's great. Another thing to get onto is my Vivitar macro and wide angle attachment, which I might actually be able to show you during the video. Right. Yeah, there we go. Can you see that? Yeah, it works nicely. I really do love it. On the same note, it gives off great quality. It can be used for macro or wide angle. It states it can be used for fisheye. It states it can give off a fisheye effect, but it really doesn't. It's difficult to tell whatsoever. When you do zoom out though, I've got this on 18mm. Now when you zoom out, you do get, not even vignetting, a border of what you just saw. Alongside that, it came with these nice little filters. I got a red gradient for landscapes. I got a green gradient again for landscapes, and I got a yellow gradient again for landscapes. I also bought a very expensive CPU polarizer, and this was incredibly expensive. So, you know, I don't use it because I paid a lot for it, and that's logic. I wish I use it, but I really don't. I do, however, use a UV haze on my 18 to 55 because it's pointless, and that was a lot of money as well. Let's get on. I've got my lens cleaner, spare lens cap, M42 to EOS adapter, which is how I use these vintage lenses on my Canon 600D, and I'll probably release a test video on each individual one. What else is in my bag? Body cap. I always like to have a body cap on me. I use it between changing lenses because I'm paranoid that a particle of dust will get on my sensor. I've got the, what is this? It's an RC6 remote, you know, handy to have, about £4, which I think is about $6 or $7. I don't know, I don't really work in dollars. I also have my camera charger, my camera battery charger. I think this is for an EFC 6. I can't remember what battery a Canon 600D holds, but that is what I have in my bag. So thank you very much for watching. Oh, I also have my thumb drive in there, which I use for my photography coursework. So thank you very much for watching. Have a good day.